Okay, good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Walk and Talk Zoom. It is Saturday, October 7th. And as I mentioned in the preamble, it is officially the first day, at least here in Michigan, that I turned on our furnace. So how's everybody doing out there? Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Woohoo!
Saturday.
Morning, everybody.
Awesome. Fabulous.
Good morning.
Just turned on my furnace as we walked out the door.
Oh my gosh. And look at the two of you all bundled up and outside. My gosh. Well, I know we've got people from other parts of the country and in warmer parts of the country. So let's start going around the horn. Carol, how are things in sunny Sarasota, Florida?
Things are marvelous, marvelous. We are having a antique car show this morning in our little neighborhood. And so I don't know if it'll start before I go home, but anyway, it's beautiful here today. Some clouds in the sky, but not much. Beautiful sun coming out, and it's a lovely day. And hey, I was reading a good article and I wanted to just kind of highlight, I'm not going to go into detail on it, but we have a product called vitamin D, and it is a wonderful product and quite inexpensive for the value it brings. And it is vitamin D3 with K2. And many of you know this, but in case you don't, the synthetic vitamin D that is made in a lab that was formulated after D3, the natural form, was discovered, does not have the same healing benefits that vitamin D3 has. It is a synthetic, and by the way, it's not a vitamin, it's a hormone. D3 is a hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone. But anyway, the D3 has a very, very beautiful ability to repair and build bone and preserve bone, healthy bone, not preserve old, dead, dried bone. It remodels and builds healthy bones. And this is so important. And especially if you're working with somebody that's moving on past 40 and 50, they want to make sure that they are taking care of their bones. Very, very important. And ours is a D3. And if you go on the site, there will be a couple of videos there, as they will with the calcium magnesium D, which is another product we have vitamin D in. But it'll tell you sources, and it's very, very, very good product. And the K2 is a product that works synergistically with the D3 to utilize the D3, get it into the bones, get it into the body, get it into wherever it needs to go so that it can activate and be used optimally. And that's always the big thing with natural supplements versus something that's a pharmaceutical, is the absorption, the ability for it to do what it says it's going to do. And in this article, it said the D2, which many times your doctor will prescribe, and there's a fancy long name for it, will not do for the bones what the D3 does. It just doesn't absorb and do the same thing. So if you are working with a client, or perhaps yourself, you've had a doctor that has prescribed vitamin D2, you want to make sure that you get on our vitamin D3 with K2, because that's where you're going to get your optimal bone building and all the other benefits of the vitamin D. I know a lot of times I'll work with clients and they say, oh, well, yeah, my doctor gave me vitamin D. And I say, well, what kind? And it's usually D2. And so it's just not going to be the same benefit. So just wanted to bring that highlight to you. And then the other thing I want to mention real quickly, I want to just highlight what Eric and Graylin, I think, at that point, have been doing that perhaps I've been overlooking. I've been promoting the Facebook, but I have not been promoting just, here comes the cars. Sorry. Have not been promoting the Voices of HealthPointe, which is a YouTube that Eric and his administrative assistant have put together that's absolutely wonderful. And it gives clips out of this type of thing that we do on Walk and Talk and various and sundry other things. So it's very, very informational. And if you have a situation where maybe you have a client that wasn't able to get on Saturday morning, or there's some specific really, really good stuff that came out of the week before, which every week it does. You guys all are amazing. You just all come up with these zingers, as Bill Fondren used to always talk about, these unbelievable zingers. And then Graylin, under the direction of Eric, can pull those out and puts them on Voices of HealthPointe. So just wanted to kind of highlight that, because we have so many wonderful things. And if Eric's going to go to the trouble of getting those put together, we so thank you, Eric. We certainly needs to not only go on ourselves and educate ourselves, but also be able to share that with other people. So those are the two things I just wanted to highlight this morning. So back to you, Eric.
Yeah, that's, it's always so amazing to just get your thoughts, and you're always just providing such value, Carol. So first of all, on the YouTube, yeah, thanks for giving a shout out for that. I know I've probably been a little bit low level on talking about it or promoting or even making people aware that it's out there. So you know, it's interesting, you know, with these walk and talks and the Facebook group and the YouTube, you know, candidly, it's kind of like I'm almost scratching my own itch, you know. So if it's wonderful that other people get value out of it, but I'm so passionate and involved in this space, you know, I just feel like I need to have these outlets, right? Yeah. So, but it is an amazing resource, and I'm not saying that self-promotional. I'm just adding or double clicking on what you're saying, Carol. I have the luxury, or not the luxury, but just as part of the process, when we wrap up a walk and talk, I'm typically getting that recording link and listening to it, usually at 2x speed. So I know what all you guys sound like chipmunks, by the way. So David Dassow, you're the best. But no, I usually listen to it at 2x speed. And then once my assistant gets it loaded up onto YouTube, I'm usually doing a review of that again, also at chipmunk speed. So I really get the value out of it. And I've been less than optimal, we'll say, at promoting that. So that said, hey, maybe Carol, you commenting about that will be one of our segments in our 2 to 3 minute clip out of this. We'll make a clip of a clip. So that'll be great.
Eric, I have one quick question. Sure. On the YouTube, if they get a YouTube, do they have to go fresh onto the YouTube each time to get the latest updates?
So you're asking, like, when they go to YouTube, how is it that they can, like, most easily get the latest update?
Well, the question is, I'm giving somebody the Voices of HealthPointe and say, hey, this is a great resource. And it sits in their email or their text for 5-6 days a week. And then they go over and they, oh, I got to check that out. There's been additions since I sent that YouTube. Does it give an automatic latest, or does it give the YouTube I sent them at that point in time?
That's a great question. So I'll answer that, and maybe I'll provide some additional, you know, YouTube best practices, whether you're sharing it or, you know, if a recipient is asking about it. So to your question, if you like personally are watching or listening to an episode, let's say it's this recorded episode or last week's recorded episode or whatever, you know, an episode from July, and you would like that person that you're sharing it with to listen to that or watch that, right there, very handy on the YouTube screen is going to have a share function like we're all so familiar with. And if you click that and give the option, usually just to copy the link is usually the best option. You can directly share it within email or Facebook or whatever you want to do. But if you just copy the link and then share that link to your friend, then when they click on that link, whether it's right away or a month later or a year later, it will play that specific episode that you shared with them.
Okay.
So that's how that works. Now, sometimes, we might want to just give people the resource of the page or YouTube Voices of HealthPointe in general.
Oh.
And some people that are familiar with and use YouTube a lot, which is a lot of people these days, right? It's huge. I mean, it's probably one of the most, often used resources. They know like, okay, oh, this is great. I got this link from Carol and I'm listening to this July episode. They know that they can then click on the Voices of HealthPointe icon and go to kind of like the homepage, YouTube homepage of that, where they'll have all there will be like various categories. There'll be like a link called videos, and they can click on that and it'll have sequential uploads of the video. So it's a bit chronological there, where the newest to latest. Then additionally, many people are familiar with playlists. So in YouTube, if they're at Voices of HealthPointe, they can click on playlists. And we've got a lot of things broken down in playlists. We've got a playlist for the clips. That's a real vibrant one where we'll take, like say out of this recording this morning and just condense or break out like 4 or 5 points that are noted in this recording, and we'll compile those into just a short 2 to 3 minute clip. And that's really fun to share with people because it's like, hey, this is just 2 to 3 minutes. And they listen to that and they can get a quick understanding. And then if they want to listen to more, they can listen to the full episode. But also in that clips, we've got also within those playlists, we've got other, playlists. Like, for example, Carol, we've got your 23-minute walkthrough of the recorded Zoom of covering, the HealthPointe program. So anyhow, I think that probably answers your question, then provides some more answers to that. And then what I can also do is I can throw into maybe I can throw an email to you, Carol, and then I can also right here in our current Zoom in the chat, I can throw a link up to that YouTube channel as well. So that everybody, either in their email or in their Zoom chat can just click on that link. And if they've never been to the YouTube channel, that'll take them right to that YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think that with that, in summary, and thank you, that's very helpful. I think in summary to the group is for all of us to go on and spend more time at Voices in HealthPointe to see the value of the different things and pinpoint different segments, different clips, the playlist, what have you, to see how it can best suit you. Again, become familiar with it. So I know that's what I heard out of that message. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I mean, it's, I tell you, again, I'm kind of eating my own dog food when I'm doing it, but it's truly, since it's a compilation of all of these voices, all of this wonderful, I just love listening to it, re-listening to it. And I go, oh yeah, boy, I missed that on the original recording. You know how it is, we get, a little distracted or whatever. And then we listen to it and I was like, oh man, Larry said this and that and so good. So awesome. Well, hey, I wanted to ask a question and maybe there's other questions on the vitamin D. That is so valuable, Carol. So I've got a number of questions, but let me just start with the 2 questions. One, am I correct in recalling that our vitamin D, the primary source of it is mushroom? Is that, do I recall? Okay,
yes.
All right.
And
then,
when you go on to either pull up the product or do a share to somebody, and I hope you're using the bejeebies out of the share button because it's valuable, but there's also usually 1 or 2 little videos with most of, especially the Nutrilite products. And a lot of them will tell that, and also will break down the ingredients and why, and many times little sub articles as to why that particular ingredient is used, such as a mushroom, which is a very, very valuable resource for vitamin D.
That's great. That's great. And a question that I have a little bit personally, but also I think this will be a question that a lot of people might have a question about is vitamin D. Of course, we think of some vitamin D from the sun. You're in sunny Sarasota, Florida. By the way, I saw that, it just is a total tangent here, but I see that Eileen is on here as well. And when she had her camera on, I believe she's from Florida as well. At least I saw palm trees. So, Eileen, just a quick shout out to you. And
Morning.
so, hey, there's Eileen. Hey, good. Isn't that, I know that's not Michigan. Where's that at, Eileen?
We're in Florida. We're right below Caro. We're in Venice, Florida, Sarasota County.
All right. Oh man,
My husband just joined the program. I don't know.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. And what's your husband's name?
Bruce.
Bruce. All right. Welcome, Bruce and Eileen. And you guys are killing us here with your background and your sunny blue skies, and we're freezing here in Michigan, but we welcome you, and it's great to have you on here.
Thanks.
And so with that, on the sunshine that you guys are all enjoying, so some people say, hey, vitamin D, I'm getting vitamin D, or I take vitamin D maybe in the winter time, but not so much in the summertime because I get vitamin D from the sun. Any comments or thoughts on that, Carol?
Well, you know me, I don't lay in the sun necessarily, but I am always out in the sun, and I still take tons of vitamin D. And vitamin D is not only good for your bones, but, we have always this lurking COVID atmosphere that surrounds us in the news and stuff and whatever. But even colds and flu seasons, vitamin D is so very, very helpful. So even though the Federal Commission says some ridiculously small amount, because ours is a natural balance and is absorbed readily into the system, we can take much, much more than what they recommend. In fact, Hank and I personally take, I think I take 4 tablets. I'm small framed, and we want to stay healthy. We got 4 trips ahead of us between now and the end of the year, plane trips. I want to stay healthy. So we get on a lot of vitamin D to build our immune system up. So
excellent.
Did that answer your question? I think I went off on a tangent, sorry.
No, it definitely did. And, I've kind of heard answers to this before. Some of you might be familiar with, like David, I know you are familiar with Andrew Huberman. A lot of great content from him. And one of the things that he's mentioned before as far as vitamin D is that, yes, if we're getting outside, of course, we're getting some vitamin D, but these days, a lot of times we're so covered up. Basically you've got your hands, that might absorb some vitamin D. It's not like, the days of old, where everybody's out the door, lots of skin exposure and so forth like that. So he said, the reality is that even in the summertime, you go out and, maybe the tip of your nose and a couple of fingers are catching some absorption.
Perhaps your teeth.
That's right. Stick your tongue out, get some vitamin D on your tongue. But, well, I think it speaks to when it comes to supplementation is we're filling in those nutritional gaps, right? It's kind of nutritional insurance, and whether it's, vitamin A or vitamin Bs or vitamin Cs or vitamin Ds, it's very difficult to get the consistent, not that we're going to fall over due to, scurvy from lack of vitamin C, but we're talking optimizing our mitochondria. We're talking about optimizing our health. And so Well, that's great. Well, we've got a lot of great vitamin D content on here. I know I'm going to go back and review some things because I just need to. This is coming to mind right now. I need to bone up on my vitamin D. Yes, yeah.
A little play on words there.
Yeah. How bad is that? We've got to have some clips in here where we go like a meow, 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 type of when there's a bad pun like that. But I am going to bone up on my vitamin D. And I'm going to also continue around the horn here. And we're going to go to the step queen herself. Tell us how you're doing, Kathy. And then we'll go to David and Marilyn, then Larry. And so Kathy, why don't you start first by reminding everyone the remarkable HealthPointe journey that you had, and then tell us where you're at on your 10,000 steps count.
All righty. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be back. I missed you all last Saturday. So it's great to be back with our family. So 4 years ago, between June 2018 and January of 2019, I had lost 58 pounds because I was confirmed pre-diabetic. And I said, okay, yeah, not going on metformin, not doing what the doctor says. I have HealthPointe. I'm going to do this. So did it for over almost 5 years now. And kept the 58 pounds off, even during COVID, just with maintenance and just trying to continue drinking water and doing steps. And probably at that time, probably between 7,000 to 8,000 a day, I think. Once in a while, I'd get to 10,000. But a year and 191 days today ago,
Yeah, Kathy.
I decided to set the goal to do 10,000 steps a day, no matter what. And so, as I said, today will be 1 year and day 191 at the end of the day, once I reach it, of doing 10,000 consecutively. And for those of you that are new to the program, if you're thinking, how in the heck do you get 10,000 steps a day? I work full time. I sit at a desk all day. How am I going to do that? Well, that's me. And I'm an administrative assistant for a regional educational service agency. And the majority of my steps come Tuesday through Friday when I'm in the office on my lunch hour between 11:15 and noon. I have lunch from 11 to 12. I usually eat my lunch in about 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm normally, because we're in Michigan, it's not that warm or it's rainy. So a lot of times I will do my steps just in our third floor lobby, which several people have seen me and they know what I do. So no one's decided to officially jump on yet, but I did get one person that jumped on. So, we'll see, but it's about me, not them, as far as that goes. And if I'm not in the lobby, I will be walking the one perimeter area of our parking lot. And people have come in before. Oh yeah, you're the girl that's in the parking lot every day. Yep, I am. So usually I can kick out between 3,000 to 4,000 in that 45 minutes if I walk really fast. It just depends on how things go. And then, a couple thousand here and there from getting up and going to the printer and stuff like that. Just being kind of mindful as to where I'm walking and trying to get steps in. And a lot of times when you're at home, one of my quick tricks is you got to fold laundry. Well, who says you can't fold laundry while you're walking? So I grab one towel, walk around the room, fold it, put it in the cupboard, grab another towel. Might take a little bit more time to get the clothes folded, but how many steps did you get done in that time? So it's all about just being cognizant of it. And if you want it, as Nancy Dorton says, don't do your best, do what it takes. So that's what I've been doing. My mom's been in the ER before the middle of the night. I was afraid I didn't know what the next day was going to have in store. So I did 5,000 steps in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m, because I knew that would jumpstart me for once I finally got home and got some sleep. I wouldn't have to worry about it later. And I still did it. So it is who I am now. So someday we'll probably look back and there'll be 5 years and day 120. But, right now I'm proud of myself at 1 year and 191 days. And I do have David Dassett to thank for it too, because he found this amazing video on YouTube that said the benefits of 10,000 steps. And I have shared that with like 3 different coworkers. And 2 of them still haven't watched it, but one did. And, I said, it's just amazing. It actually can shave years off your life. I mean, you can actually live longer just by doing 10,000 steps a day. So
I love it.
That's it for the step queen.
I love it. I love
Congratulations,
it.
Kathy.
Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. 190 days plus 365. All I know is that's a big number. So congratulations. And it's not easy, you know, or convenient, and you just make it happen. And so congratulations on 58 pounds lost. I'm sure dialed in your blood sugar and got away from that pre-diabetic status. So awesome. Thank you so much. And I think if I may have the order wrong, but if I do, let's just roll with it. David Dassow, good morning. I do see some blue sky, and I know you're in Michigan. Where
are you?
You're not near East Lansing, I'll tell you that, because if I pointed this out the window, it would not look like what it looks like over you and Chris. But welcome and good morning.
Good morning. Chris just commented as to where are all the people. We're used to walking in our community here and seeing other people. We're the only ones.
I love it. Everybody else is still covered up under they just have their nose sticking out under their covers right now.
So again, as far as the D3, I remember once, and somebody else can elaborate, was that D3 is like a multiplier, that if you take it with your other supplements, it'll often make your other supplements more absorbable, more impactful. If someone else is on the line who's got I'm sanguine, so I don't always have the data to back up my thoughts.
I heard that too, so that must be true.
And so I don't know, the thing, maybe because I the books I've been reading and what we've been studying lately, I'm have some new habits that I struggle with. And as Kathy just said, walking is who she is. And, you know, there are secrets and that's one of the reasons I enjoy our walk, because we get so many little secrets that are not readily available. And so
thank you for getting those spots. See, there's another one right there.
Erica, you might want to mute
there.
All of them? One moment, guys.
Oh, good. I like watching it. I feel so good. Okay. It's like, oh, it's clean.
Erica. Okay, there we go. All right. Erica,
so
you are muted.
The secret that I wanted to share is that when I work with young families, and I worked with families that had handicapped children, little babies from birth to 3. And so I would work with these moms, and they were like exhausted, overwhelmed. And one of the things I would remind them was of embracing the mundane, that the little things that you do every day with your child over time will have impact. And so in my own life, I have found that in my lifestyle changes that I do the breathing and I do the walking and the HealthPointe. And I just kind of noticed that some of the things like breathing, that is who I am. I cannot go through a day without doing the breath work that I do. Walking, on the other hand, is like more of a mental stretch every day. And so it's like I have to embrace the mundane and realizing the importance of what it is. But I don't know, for me, there's just kind of noticing the difference. There's some things that I just easily do every day, not a problem. But then there's those other habits that you kind of have to a little more mentally tough and embrace one day. And a lady friend 10 years ago, who I was complaining about something, and she reframed it for me, is that I don't have to, I get to. Mm-hmm. I still get to get up every morning and go for a walk. A lot of people can't. Mm-hmm. You know, I still get to do things. And so, anyways, just the thought of, as we talk to people about new habits, they're going to have to reframe some of their thinking. And some thinking we, it's easier for us. And others, we have to learn to embrace the mundane and realize the benefit of, as Kathy said, from walking 10,000 steps every day. That's it. Hope it made sense.
Totally made sense. And once again, David, you are the most clippable person in the entire walk and talk. So you just, again, I mean, it's always a mic drop with David Dassow. I mean, it's like, here's your clip, ready, bam, and drop the mic, exit the stage, right, So embracing the mundane, guys, we could do probably an entire walk and talk on embracing the mundane. And I love that, the origins of that. And I don't know, tremendous amount about your story and your early career, David, certainly as much as Hank and Carol do and so forth, but I know a bit about it and your work with, children and young families, and to have the origin story of that, where you're working with, maybe a struggling mother, a tough environment, and trying to raise up that child in a tough situation, and to have such a powerful concept of embracing the mundane is very, very valuable. So totally made sense, David. And you've blessed our lives this morning with that. So thank you very much. And I'm going to go then to, who did I say next? Did I say, I see Emily on here. For those of you that don't know, is my lovely wife. She may be running on the treadmill in the basement, or she may be available. I don't know. But let's go Larry, and then Emily, if she's available, and then Marilyn, if she's available. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning. How's it going, everybody? It's good to be here this morning. Hey, listen, I was thinking about this. I've been talking to a couple of clients about things, and I'm going to kind of throw this out there to the group, get a little bit of feedback. I work with clients that have had type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetic. And I was talking to a couple of clients, and one, a young man who is type 1 diabetes and has been on medication for, since he was younger. He's in his early 30s, maybe. Looks like he's in good shape, takes good care of himself. He has been indoctrinated by his doctor that he has to be stuck with his medications, and that he was telling me his pancreas wasn't working or something. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. Type 1 is basically an autoimmune disease where, unfortunately, your immune system, attacks your pancreas and disables it, we'll say. So your body's not able to produce the insulin that you need. So yeah.
Yeah, so I was just trying to get a little bit of feedback. He's looking at our program. He's not sure about it because he's been, with his doctor for so long, and naturally they have suggested that, hey, you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life, and there's nothing you can do about it, and different things like that. But he's seriously looking at the program. And like I said, I work with pre-diabetics and type 2, but never type 1. And so I was just going to get some feedback from the group to see if there's what we can do to help this young man if he's seriously interested. So, so I'll be listening from the group and from you, Eric and Carol, about, what things maybe you've done with type 1 diabetes. I know working with their doctor so that they are aware that they are on a program and doing some things, but just a little feedback would be helpful to me. I'm hoping it'll be helpful to the rest of the group as well. So talking here and get some info.
Sure. You know, it's a great topic, and one that with all the talk about diabetes, it's interesting. We've never had this discussion. I definitely would like to comment a couple of things about that as you were mentioning this, Larry, I was thinking, you know, maybe this would be, you know, a good sidebar conversation, but I do think it would be valuable for everybody on this regarding, you know, type 1 and type 2. So let me pick up that topic a bit and run with it for the benefit, hopefully, of everyone. So I almost wish that type 1 and type 2 were not called type 1 and type 2 diabetes. I wish there was something called diabetes or type 2 diabetes, and then there was something called, I don't know, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is, you know, as type 1, because they are, of course, in the same realm. But, you know, when you have something that's like says, you know, type 1 versus type 2, you just think, oh, you know, one's like DEFCON 1 and one's DEFCON 2, and, you know, they could be so similar. And they are, but I will tell you that they are radically different in terms of, you know, what's happening and how it occurred. And let me just paint with a broad brush here. This is obviously, we're not nuancing this. There's a lot of variables, a lot of factors and stuff like that, but I'm going to try to stay a little bit condensed here and just kind of hit on the nuggets. And later, you know, we can expand this and do an hour on it. But type 1, as I mentioned, is an autoimmune disease. It can, you know, you can see here children, you know, that have type 1, I mean, very, very young children. It could hit somebody, you know, in their 30s. It could hit somebody later. There's a lot of research out there on things as far as, you know, things that could be causing it and stuff like that. But for the moment, let's just camp out on the fact that, you know, somebody's kind of cruising along in life and suddenly they get afflicted with type 1 diabetes. It's an autoimmune disease. And next thing they know, their pancreas is getting attacked and they're losing their ability to produce this very important hormone called insulin. And so if you contrast that with type 2 diabetes, which we focus on so much in terms of helping people with, you know, through HealthPointe, that, you know, very often along with weight loss and so forth, people are stabilizing their blood sugar and dropping it down and getting it into, you know, a healthy range. By the way, something just popped in my head. We have Marilyn on the call here, and Marilyn, when I flip to you, I think you've got some more additional information on type 1. So I'm going to kind of cue you up on this as well, if memory serves me right. But let me kind of continue on here. So type 2 diabetes, which we're working so much with people, and people are getting so much benefit, you know, through HealthPointe with type 2 diabetes, you know, that's often called a lifestyle or adult onset or something like that. It's often something that, you know, what we eat, how much we eat, the types of food that we eat is contributing to that type 2 condition, that high A1C condition. But type 1 is not. They could be, like you said, this gentleman that you're speaking of appears fit and so forth like that. And so here's the thing that we all want to be aware of. On all programs, we always say, absolutely work in concert with your primary care physician. And, you know, is that just for type 1? No, that's for type 2 as well, because as people are getting healthier, if they're on meds, you know, if they might be taking insulin injections, they might be taking metformin, they might be taking high blood pressure. Well, hey, as you get healthier, as you lose weight, as your blood sugar regulates, you want to be in concert with, in communication with your doctor. So if there's any adjustments in your blood pressure medicine, they're doing that. If there's any in your insulin, they're doing that. And let me just speak to type 2. You know, if somebody, well, type 1 is as well. If somebody is taking insulin injections, which is an effort to, in type 2, it's an effort to, because you're insulin resistant, and it's kind of weird how this is prescribed like this, but your body is already, producing so much insulin, and your cells are insulin resistant. So the way I say it is like, visualize like a garage door that, used to be wide open. And if you had a fire hose out there, spraying insulin, it goes in very easily. It goes into the cells. It brings the sugar into the cells in the form of ATP. But when you become type 2 diabetic, that garage door is kind of going down. That's what's called insulin resistance. So your cells are resisting this hormone. And so what we work to do in HealthPointe is address the root cause and help people become more insulin receptive, more insulin healthy. What's happening with if somebody's taking a pharmaceutical or insulin injections is basically that's like saying, okay, your garage door is closing down. Now there's only 4 inches at the bottom. You're very insulin resistant. So what we're going to do is we're going to crank this fire hose up even higher, or we're going to get 3 or 4 fire hoses and just spray the bejeebies out of your garage door to try to force insulin into that garage, insulin into that cell. All right. I don't know if that metaphor makes work or not. Sometimes that's how I explain it. But here's the thing that we always want to be mindful of, why people want to work with their doctors. And it's more acute with type 1 maybe than type 2. I think it would be a reasonable thing to say in that manner. And that is, you never want to have an overabundance of insulin and go extremely hypoglycemic, okay? Hyperglycemic is where our blood sugar is screaming up high. Maybe we've eaten a bunch of jelly donuts or whatever, and our blood sugar is just, screaming high. And then we get insulin, and that turns that and starts, moving that, dropping that blood sugar reading. And yes, we want to get that to a healthy range, but if somebody's it goes too low, that can be very dangerous. Okay. Have you ever heard of somebody going into a diabetic coma? That is hypoglycemic. Okay, if you go down below certain markers on your blood sugar level due to an over injection, that's where type 1 diabetics have to be real careful. They're usually monitored with a continuous glucose meter, and because when their doctor says you need to take X amount of injection, if they were somehow to mess that up and put too much insulin injected into their body, then their body would go hypoglycemic and they could be at risk of passing out and going into a diabetic coma. Okay. Right. So, all right. So that's a real quick clip on type 1 versus type 2. I wish they were called different things in a way, because they really are. They're similar, but they're, one is kind of lifestyle created in the way of type 2 in most cases. Type 1 is more of an autoimmune affliction that somebody got, no different than if they got MS that attacked their nervous system or other autoimmune diseases. This one just happened to attack their pancreas. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, there's our science corner for a second. Go ahead. David?
A quick side note.
Yeah.
Is Greg Pierce shared once on the program here that he lost about 25 pounds on HealthPointe. He takes insulin. He had a bad episode, ended up in the hospital, and everything got straightened out. But he went from 40 units of insulin a day down to 25 because of the HealthPointe program. But again, you have to be, like you just said, very aware of where your sugar level is.
Yes, that's absolutely for sure. And yes, many of us know Greg Pierce, and so it's a great example of that. He was, whether it's his doctor or however that occurred, the advising should have been, hey, you need to reduce the amount of insulin that you're injecting into your body because you're getting healthier, which is great. But yeah, that's a great example. So thank you for that. And
there's another point, Eric, excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
Before you introduce somebody else, there's a difference between going on HealthPointe for a healthy lifestyle and going on to lower an insulin, lower this, lower that, get off medications or what have you. And so it sounds like this gentleman is slender. It sounds like he's fit. But maybe Larry, track him through what is his daily eating patterns, what are his daily exercise, drink water, sleep, all of those things that enter into HealthPointe. Kind of just ask him questions about that. Okay. And you know, keep the barrier down, because you don't want to be interrogating him in any way, shape, or form. Right. But ask him, you know, let's take a look here and see if maybe just in a general overall, we can help you build your whole system up, because your immune system is what rules everything anyway. We can build that up, perhaps through some supplementation, through a little bit better eating habits. I don't know. Let's just kind of go through some of this. And you might be able to pinpoint, maybe he's not going to, you know, get off of whatever, but perhaps he can build his body and his system up to a greater degree that who knows in the future. I mean, with all the research that's being done, who knows what could develop from it, but you're not promoting it as you're going to be able to get out of type 1 diabetes. You wouldn't tell them that. But what you could do is go through a healthy lifestyle and what HealthPointe's all about. And even though that gentleman might stay in a pre-diabetic stage, I mean, I'm a diabetic 1 stage for whatever reason, in following the program, supplementing, getting the proper sleep, being aware of a healthy lifestyle, he might be talking to somebody else that is maybe not quite along that road so deep, but isn't a pre-diabetic like Kathy was, or, you know, what have you. Right. And could say, hey, you ought to check this out. And it could save somebody else's life. So, you know, we always say it's not just who you know, but who they know too. Because HealthPointe is a pretty broad helping program.
I love that perspective, Carol. That's so true. I think what can be categorically stated, no matter what, is that there's no downside to proper nutrition, right? I don't know any doctor with any condition that's going to say, gal, you have a choice between a Krispy Kreme donut or this, you know, healthy, you know, whatever over here. We prescribe the Krispy Kreme donut. I don't know any doctor that's going to say that, right? So whether you're type 1 or type 2, having great nutrition is great. As Carol is pointing out, you know, it's not always just them, it's who they know, who could they affect just through their own knowledge. I'll just kind of go on a statement here, because I've been in this position. And Erica, I know I mentioned this to you. You had a question about this as well, I think, with somebody. I don't know if you had a specific situation, but you asked me about this. If somebody is type 1 diabetic, I will certainly help them with Nutrilite, with nutrition, again, all guidance with their, and work in concert with their primary physician. But I will not coach them on specifically HealthPointe, because there is a balance there, you know, with HealthPointe. It is HealthPointe, but a lot of people are using it to lose weight, to correct course with their blood sugar. And in that regard, most people are eating way too many net carbs, right? Okay, way too much processed food. And that's what's causing a lot of these conditions. And that is an incredible benefit to them. But somebody that's on type 1, I don't want to be any kind of information over to them, or any direction from me or guidance from me that is addressing, you know, their net carb issue. That I just want to steer clear of that, you know, candidly. Unfortunately, for those that are afflicted with this, it's not, I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a huge amount of type 2 diabetes in the United States right now. As we know, about 1 out of 3 Americans is either type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic, but type 1 is relatively rare condition. certainly in relationship to type 2. So it's not like you run into it a lot out there, but if I do, just personally, I don't directly coach that person with, talking about net carbs and stuff like that. Now, if they want to take Nutrilite and omegas and stuff like that, absolutely. I mean, again, this is nutrition, but nothing beyond that in my experience. So
nutrition and healthy habits.
Yes, absolutely. And talk to their friends that are probably type 2, No. All right. Emily, are you running on the treadmill, or are you available to comment here this morning? We'll give you a little moment here if you're available. We'll give a good morning, Emily.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Yes, I am available. Happy.
All right.
So I want to share a few points about zone 2 exercise. I come across a very, very interesting article about effects of zone 2 training on metabolic health. So Eric, this article was published by Level Company. So Level Company is the company that behind the CGM, continuous glucose monitor. And the person behind that is Dr. Casey Mean, which Eric completely revere and completely have a high regard. So I would like to share a few points of the benefit of zone 2 training, and I will explain what zone 2 training means. So zone 2 increases the number and efficiency of mitochondria. So mitochondria is another Eric's passion. He talked about it all the time. So that's a topic in the household recently. So mitochondria is our powerhouse, right? It is the reason that we move, we do everything, anything. Zone 2 improves insulin sensitivity. Zone 2 improves insulin independent glucose uptake. Zone 2 exercise reshapes your heart. Zone 2 training improves oxygen capacity and longevity. So obviously, it's very important to train in zone 2. All my life, I do a lot of exercise, a lot of training, and I'm always, I used to focus on zone 3, 4, or 5. I love the high intensity workout. I like to work out when I cannot talk. I sweat like crazy. But recently, the science proves that zone 2 training is very beneficial. So overall of the training for a fitness person or athletic person, 80% should be in zone 2 and 20% in higher zone. So how do you calculate zone 2? So you take your age, subtract by 220, and that is your max heart rate. So in zone 2, your heart rate should be 60 to 70% of your max. And to have the benefit, you should exercise at least 150 minutes per week. And every section of your exercise at least 20 minutes plus continuously. So that is some measure to have the benefit of zone 2 exercise. What else I want to share? So why zone 2 is so important for us? Because our body use different type of fuels in the different zones. So we have either it can be zone 5 or zone 7 is a different talks out there. So in zone 2, your body uses fats as fuels. So that burning fat is much more efficient and better than burning glucose. It's more steady, just like when we in low carbs diet, we use fat as fuel so we don't crash. So Carol has a wonderful talk about that. So similar in zone 2, your body utilizes fat as fuel. So this is a very deep topic. We can have even like an entire session to talk about this. So today I just want to share with you a few points that I learned from this article.
I love it. I love it. Yep. So yeah, I don't know what you couples out there talk about over dinner, with your loved ones, but Emily and I talk about mitochondria and zone 2. So welcome to the Rashi household. We love it. I love it that Emily has been learning so much about this, and you guys know that she's just such a product of the product. I mean, her and I both did HealthPointe back in 2017, and she was not somebody that had much weight to lose. She just wanted to dial in her body fat percentage, which she did an incredible transformation on that. Also had some additional benefits of virtually eliminating migraines. We didn't go into it knowing that would happen, but that's later on we're like, wow, you're not having any migraines anymore, and it really reduced her allergies and stuff like that. This zone 2 is Emily has a kind of a growing passion in longevity, in what do they call it? Not just lifespan, but health span. So staying healthy longer. So, we have, the legendary Hank Zampa is an amazing example on that. We always talk about Hank at a recent 90 years old, but Emily's, we kind of kid that, okay, Emily is working with people at a level that maybe if they're brand new to making a lifestyle change, it might be intimidating to come in at where Emily's at, but I take them first. I bring them into a healthy state, right? Help them if they're type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic or want to lose 10, 20, 50, 100 pounds. Let's get that going. Let's get their confidence up and they're just going to be exploding with enthusiasm and energy and confidence. And then I'll hand them off to Emily so that she can take them to the next step and help them with their longevity and some things that they would never have dreamed of doing before. But now with their new health, their new energy, their new confidence, they can do. And that's, some things that Emily also does in terms of strength training and so forth. But I want to circle back on zone 2, because zone 2 is really in kind of, we'll call it phase 1 of the Rashi household, with me working with somebody, and phase 2, let's say with Emily working with them. Because in a nutshell, and Emily, you can correct me on this, I may be wrong on it, but as say Peter Attia talks about zone 2, as others that I know that you're studying under talk about zone 2, would it basically be accurate to say that a power walk, like Carol Zampa does, where she says when she goes for a walk, it's not just a stroll like with a poodle, she's going for a power walk. And so you get, what are kind of the easy to remember parameters of zone 2? Is it not that you're not so out of breath that you can't have a conversation, but maybe you can have a conversation, but it's a little bit difficult to carry that conversation because you are, kind of a little bit elevated on your heart rate and stuff like that? Is that a good broad stroke representation of what it means to be in zone 2, Emily?
Yep, you're absolutely correct, Eric. That's another way to measure zone 2. So Carol has done zone 2 long ago, before even the science comes out to prove that zone 2 is benefits. That is so amazing when I talk about that. So yes, power walk definitely is one of the type of exercise that can get you in zone 2.
Yeah, that's great. So once again, you know, the science eventually catches up with Hank and Carol. So thank you, Carol, for literally leading the way. You know, we hear from Carol, and she's often, you know, just in her power walk zone. So that's great. So yeah, guys, you know, when we're in HealthPointe, whether we're in the you know, beginning stages or later, you know, with a high confidence, when you're doing your walk, let's think about that. You know, Emily was talking about, you know, 150 minutes a week. Well, if you do 5,000 steps, that takes about what, 45 minutes, right? So, you know, 3 sessions of that, and you've checked that box. And so that just means that, you know, sometimes when you're walking, if not all the time, pick up the pace, put a little zip in your step. As Dr. Daniel Amen, who I studied under for the brain health program, says, walk like you're late for an airplane. Okay, yep. We all know that walk, right? Going through the airport with a bit of a zip in our step. Well, you do that for 45 minutes and you will be in zone 2, trust me. So that is really, really great stuff. Thank you, Emily. We are going to have time for 1, maybe 2 more. We are past 9 now, but with the kind of the meandering start that I had before I started this recording, we are still kind of within the hour mark, but I do want to go to Marilyn. If you are interested and available, if you're interested in unmuting, great. I'll give you a bit of time here. I think you might know a little bit about the topic of type 1, if memory serves me correctly. If not, that's okay too, but welcome, Marilyn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And as far as type 1 diabetes is, we're pretty much on the market. It is an autoimmune disease. And yeah, it's still beneficial for them, anyone with type 1, to take the proper nutrition, making sure they're getting good vitamins and eating the right way. They do have to watch their carbs as well as type 2 does. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are very similar. So yeah, we've got it. You got it hit on the head there pretty much with a type 1 and type 2.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for that confirmation, Marilyn. And
I must be in zone 2 when I walk, because I'm walking my dog this morning. He's pooped out already. We did 2.5 miles.
That's another segment on how to put your pets into zone 2.
Now I can believe, I guess when the vet said he lost 5 pounds, yeah, he did. Because I looked at her, I said, there is no way he lost 5 pounds.
Oh,
because he eats everything: rocks, frogs, snakes, you know, worms.
Well, my husband.
That is great. That is so great. Well, thank you for that, Marilyn. And Marilyn, do you want to share any details? You're relatively new to the program. Of course, I'm privy to your numbers and so forth like that, and where you're at in terms of, you know, what week you're at and how many pounds down and so forth, or just in general, just how you feel, you know, relatively new into the program. Any comments on that?
Oh, I feel so much better. And then I hear something new every Saturday. So now I'm going to get into this D3 because I'm prescribed calcium and vitamin D3 for one of the chemo appointments I have. So, and I think I'm taking garbage.
Voila.
I'm thinking, I need to change that up.
Yeah.
So I've got some research to do.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know it was a recent week where you picked up on something that Hank had said in terms of some of the probiotics and stuff like that, and stuff that was great for our gut health. So, you know, I know you to be a learner, a researcher. So that's awesome. Really appreciate that. And so glad that you're feeling great in your early starts to HealthPointe. I can tell you, you are doing so well. You are so on track with all your numbers, moving through the various weeks and so forth. So thank you for that. And I'm going to go over real quickly. Erica, I don't know if you're available to be able to unmute and speak. If you are, go ahead and give a quick shout out, and then we'll go to Hank to wrap it up.
Man.
Good
morning, guys.
Good
morning.
I'm still in my PJs. I wanted to sleep in a little bit today, and then sorry, I didn't realize my mic was still on. I was talking to my carpet cleaning service. Anyways, multitasking this morning. It's good to hear everybody and see everybody. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to be on, but it was really cool hearing about all the vitamin D comments. You know, I often reference that I'm a brain health coach through Dr. Daniel Amen Clinics, just like Eric is. And he really emphasizes vitamin D and the importance of it. And I found it really interesting learning the aspects that, you know, when you go to get blood work done for your vitamin D levels, most labs will say anywhere between 25 units to, you know, depending on the lab, some say 30 units. If you're above 25 or 30, you are in a healthy range. And so I had gotten my blood work done, and I believe I was at like 27, and my lab said anything over 25 was in the normal category. But, you know, Dr. Daniel Amen, he does all the brain spec scans, and I always kind of, you know, tie HealthPointe in with brain health as well. And optimally for brain health function, you know, between, he said, 60 to 100 is where the brain really functions optimally. So people who have maybe depression or anxiety, if they take a higher dose of vitamin D, it can help improve in these areas. So yeah, like you guys were saying, not just bone health, but also immunity. It helps with, you know, decreasing risk of cancer if you have a better vitamin D level, and so many benefits to it. So the recommended daily allowance, you know, that the FDA usually says is somewhere between 600 and 800 international units IU. And Dr. Daniel Amen, you know, he suggests even upwards up to like 5,000 international units can help somebody bring their blood level into that healthier range between 60 and 100 being optimal. You know, once you get up to like 150 for the blood work, it would be too high. So, you know, it's always important to get your blood work tested before and after. But yeah, great topic on the vitamin D today.
Wow, I think we've got some great clip content there. Thank you, Erica, for that additional information on the vitamin D. Boy, guys, this has been a tremendous segment on the vitamin D. And the thing that I want to just double click on with what Erica is going through and commenting on, and what we've heard so often is you know, she mentioned about, you know, RDA, or, you know, recommended daily allowance. You know, most of us are familiar with that term. And then you hear so many very knowledgeable doctors. And if you're not familiar with Dr. Daniel Amen, this is the guy that's kind of the pioneer behind spec scanning. And, you know, if you've ever heard of the retired NFL players that had just a high incident of mental health issues and suicide and so forth, he was the one that was brought in to do the testing on that. So this is the guy. You know, he's very, very notable in the mental health space for sure. And so the difference between optimal versus RDA, or quote unquote within range. Okay. Personally, I want to be optimal. Okay. I don't want to be just within range compared to the, you know, most Americans. I want to be optimized. And so that is great stuff, Erica. Thank you, because, you know, I think we all are going to kind of double down on our research on vitamin D and our product offerings. It's so valuable. And quite frankly, we haven't talked enough about it. So thank you for that. Hank, are you available? If so, we'll kind of wrap up with you. Always love to hear so much of value from you. There's Hank. All right, Hank, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning.
I've been listening to all you guys. All good stuff. Great stuff. And, as Eric mentioned last week, I introduced him, or he found out about Dr. Al Sears. I should be shouting in front of mountaintops about Dr. Al Sears. Here's one of his newsletters, which I was just reading. I know you can see it well or not, but anyway, I subscribe to him, and another one is Dr. McCosey, who's an MD, PhD, and they're great newsletters. And vitamin D is awesome. I follow more what Dr. McCosey says, and he talks even about 10,000 units a day. But see, ours is for mushrooms, so it's like eating too many mushrooms. It's not synthetic, which is a big difference, all right? Our system can absorb and digest the natural stuff. Synthetics, not so well. So just a thought on the vitamin D. I am a 10,000 unit a day guy with our vitamin D3 with K2. Very important. And the other point is, again, talk about the brain. The other product is our omega-3 fatty acids, the EPA and DHA. You're probably saying, which one's for the brain? Well, just think DHA is duh. So that's the brain, right? So DHA is for your brain, and EPA is for your heart, muscles, and so forth. And I can't get into it right now, is because it's getting kind of long. It's already 15 minutes over, but one of the newsletters I was reading by Dr. Sears is about the omega-3 fatty acids and the importance of DHA that we should be taking from omegas, which comes from seafood, okay? Certain types of seafood, not stuff that's farm raised, that's horrible stuff. And he mentioned from the seas in the South Pacific at the southern tip of South America. Guess where our omegas come from? Exactly from that area. So if you look at our bottle right here, I've got it right here, and it's got a good balance between EPA and DHA. I won't get into the numbers because it'll take too long, but Dr. Sears in this one particular newsletter puts a whole newsletter about DHA, the importance of DHA for our brain. This is why so many people start losing short-term memory, get to Alzheimer's later on, and so on and so forth. And it's a 3-page article because I don't have time to get into it. But maybe the next time I will cover that in more depth. So make sure you're taking your omegas, especially along with your HealthPointe program, okay? Because they work is sync with all the things that we do. So with that, I'm gonna just sign off, and great session, guys. You're all doing super. You're on track. Keep it going. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
That's awesome, Hank. Thank you so much. Hey, real quickly on you mentioned, of course, Dr. Sears, which I'm more familiar with personally now, but then you mentioned Dr. McCosey. How do you spell that, if you happen to know that off the top of your head?
Yes.
Is it like
MICOZZI. Dr. Mark, which is spelled M-A-R-C, Mark McCosey, MD, PhD. He's not just an MD. Okay. You got a doctorate upon doctorate, right? So, and it's a real good one. And he's got a whole book out there about underground, staying healthy with underground system of natural way of doing things. And it's about a 1-inch thick book, which I have right here on my desk, which I really refer to quite often. So, but check it out. You're good at that, Eric. I think you'll find it very interesting. If you just kind of Google his name, I mean, the listings of things that this guy has done in his 40-some years of practicing is awesome. All right.
That is great. That's great. So Dr. Mark, spelled with a C, M-A-R-C, McCosey, M-I-C-O-Z-Z-I, and
MD, PhD.
He's an MD, PhD. So
Yes.
pretty smart dude. He must be taking his omegas to have a brain like that. So I kind of thank you so much for that. And one of the reasons I kind of double clicked on that, on the spelling on that, is, as Hank lightly alluded to, I've heard him mention about Dr. Sears. We've heard him mention about Dr. Sears. A number of us have. And I was like, okay, Dr. Sears, whatever, you know, and not whatever, but I mean, I never like took it to the next step. And then I was doing some things because I might be studying for the boards. And one of the platforms for it is the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute. And so I started checking out some of his material. This guy is amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the Dr. Sears that Hank is talking about. I never looked into it. So now when Hank, you know, it's kind of like that old commercial, you know, when E.F. Hutton talks, you know, people listen. Now when he utters like a name like Dr. McCosey, I'm like going to be like, you know, just obsessing on it for a bit here because it's so much value. So thank you so much, Hank, on that, and the additional information on EPA along with the vitamin D. Yeah, he does a great segment on that about pre-funding your brain. We talk about pre-funding like your IRA, your Roth, your investments. He says pre-fund your brain with lots of fish oil, lots of EPA. So it's a really, really great teaching from Dr. Sears. So guys, this has been very, very fun, rich, valuable episode. I know we didn't get to everybody on this. That's one of the great things is this group is growing. But we will get this clipped and onto YouTube. We'll get this full length on YouTube. And if there's nothing else, we'll do a wrap on this and everybody can get back to their Saturday. So everybody, happy Saturday. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much. It was so much fun and informative. See you later.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday.
Eric, appreciate that.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Yes, as always, Eric, thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Bye.